You know, the worst nightmare for any dog owner isn't a medical bill or a chewed shoe. It's realizing there are people out there who are just evil. And that's the day my HOA president, Victoria Rhodes, decided to chemically assault my service dog, Shadow, right in front of 2 police officers. She did it over a single solitary bark, and when the cops treated it like a bad-tempered playground spat, I realized I was in a war for my dog's life and my home. I'm Liam Shaw, and after coming back from 20 years of service, I thought I'd earned the peace of Cypress Creek crossings. My Shadow, a big, solid German Shepherd, is my rock. My trained service animal who catches the bad days before they catch me. He's not a pet, he's a piece of medical equipment, and the quiet rhythm of our suburban life was the treatment I needed. Victoria Rhodes, though, she was the self-appointed queen of this subdivision, a woman whose entire existence seemed dedicated to enforcing the tyranny of perfect topiary and regulating mailbox fonts. To her, Shadow was a flaw, a disruption to her flawless beige kingdom. It happened fast. We were on our usual morning loop when a diesel truck backfired, a sharp, sudden crack that felt like a bomb blast in my skull. I froze up, locked down, and Shadow felt it instantly, letting out one professional sharp woof, his grounding alert, telling me, "I'm here, boss, you're safe." Before I could even breathe again, Victoria was out of her house, pink gardening gloves and a visor, marching across her lawn like she owned the very air. "Mr. Shaw, that vicious animal. You have absolutely no control, constantly violating the noise ordinance." I tried to stay calm. I tried to de-escalate. "He's my service dog, Victoria." He was startled. "We're leaving now." But she was performing for the neighbors, and she saw the patrol car slowly cruising by. She flagged them down with an alarming, high-pitched shriek. "Officers, thank goodness, this man's aggressive animal just lunged at me." My blood ran cold. A blatant, calculated lie. The officers, who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else, clearly knew Victoria, but they still had to address the claim. As they were talking to me, trying to figure out if this was worth the paperwork, Victoria sidled up, and that's when she did it. Pulled a small can from her pocket, aimed it quickly, and sprayed a thick, stinging mist directly into Shadow's face. He yelped, a sound of confusion and pure pain that just tore through me. He stumbled, shaking his head, pawing frantically at his eyes. I dropped to my knees, my focus narrowing down to just his pain. The smell of cheap chemical mixed with perfume hitting my nose. My internal rage, the kind you bottle up for years, just snapped. I stood up, slowly, dangerously quiet, facing her. "What did you just do?" Victoria, smug, holding up the can, said, "I defended myself. It's harmless citronella spray." Officer Miller, looking genuinely concerned now, took the can. "Ma'am, interfering with a service animal is a potential federal offense. We have to log this as evidence." But they were bound by protocol. They told me to flush Shadow's eyes, and that animal control had jurisdiction over animal incidents. They just wanted the scene to end. I took Shadow home, his big body still trembling, and started documenting everything. I knew Victoria wasn't done, and I was right. The very next morning, the white animal control van arrived. Officer Kim, clipboard in hand, wouldn't look me in the eye. "Mr. Shaw, we received a sworn report. Your dog, Shadow, bit a child yesterday morning." A lie so vicious it felt like a physical blow. "That's impossible. There was no child." Officer Kim just sighed. "Sir, procedure is procedure. A bite report involving a child requires mandatory 10-day quarantine at the county shelter. The shelter, concrete fear, constant noise. It would destroy Shadow's delicate training. It was a death sentence. I managed to negotiate a home quarantine, but the price was that ugly orange sign on my door. Dangerous animal. Then, the real horror. "The complainant," Kim said, "has filed for an emergency destruction order, citing the dog's alleged history of aggression. You have 24 hours to submit evidence that your dog is not a danger. 24 hours to prove a phantom child was never bitten." The HOA piled on instantly. I received a letter detailing $250 in fines and a formal threat of an injunction. and lien that could lead to foreclosure. This wasn't just a grudge. This was a coordinated attack to remove me and my dog from the community entirely. I tried the neighbors, the ones with the security cameras, but one by one they all gave me flimsy excuses, mumbling about HOA committees and the fear of fines. Victoria had the entire street paralyzed by petty tyranny. I was cornered, drowning, in paperwork and despair. But then Shadow nudged my knee, our soft reset signal. He was doing his job, pulling me back. They had cornered the wrong person. I pulled out my phone and called the only man who could fight a war on this terrain, my old unit's tech guru, Marcus. Marcus, they're trying to kill Shadow and take my house. I need you to hack the Cypress Creek HOA server. The debt was due. I had the blueprint for the conspiracy, but I couldn't use the emails directly. That would burn Marcus. I had to flip the witness, and my target was Chloe. She was just a kid trying to pay rent, forced into perjury, and I knew I had to offer her a lifeline, not another threat. I saw my chance when Chloe pulled up to Victoria's house for some gardening, visibly distressed on the phone, when her little Yorkie, Peanut, darted out the open gate straight toward the street. A landscaping truck was coming fast. Instantly I vaulted my quarantine fence, pure combat instinct taking over, and I snatched Peanut up just as the truck screeched to a halt. The squeal of the tires a punch to my gut. I handed the trembling dog back to a horrified Chloe. "Keep your gate closed," I said, turning to walk away, my adrenaline already dropping. "Wait," she cried, tears welling up. "Why would you do that after what I did?" I stopped. That was the crack I needed. "Because it wasn't Peanut's fault," I said, turning back, keeping my voice low and earnest. "And maybe it wasn't yours either. I have the emails, Chloe. I know she threatened your job." "I know this whole thing is a lie." Her denial evaporated, replaced by pure, exhausted relief that the truth was finally out. "What are you going to do?" she whispered. "I'm giving you a choice," I told her. "You can keep living in fear, signing death warrants for innocent dogs, or you can help me stop her. Not for me, but for yourself." She looked down at Peanut, then at my face. I wasn't a monster. I was an escape route. She nodded. "Okay, what do we do?" The witness was ours. Our plan was audacious. The HOA had scheduled an emergency safety meeting for 7 p.m., Victoria's public execution of me, which we were about to turn into hers. I called Marcus. "Chloe is flipping. I need the live stream set up. We're going to crash her party." Marcus and Marty, my ham radio enthusiast ally who hated tyranny as much as I did, quickly set up a triple failover stream, ensuring the world would see everything. At 7 p.m., I walked into the sterile clubhouse. Victoria, rigid with her two silent board cronies, sat at the front table, ready to finalize the coup. She looked at me, then at Marcus in the back with his phone recording, and her eyes narrowed. She banged the gavel and began her monologue about vicious animals and community standards. I stood up. "Excuse me, Victoria. Before we rubber stamp these sanctions, I demand to know the identity of the child Shadow allegedly bit. Surely a police report was filed. A hospital visit?" The crowd shifted uneasily. Her story was sounding paper thin. "The family wishes to remain anonymous due to fear of your retaliation," she shrieked. "Retaliation?" I asked, ice in my voice. "I am calling you a liar, Victoria, and I have the proof." I nodded to the back. Chloe stood up, trembling, but her voice was clear across the silent room. "I'm telling the truth," she announced. "There was no child. There was no bite. Victoria Rhodes forced me to file a false report and threatened to fire me. I have already submitted a notarized affidavit recanting my statement to Animal Control and the district attorney's office." Victoria went ghost white. "She's lying. Disgruntled employee," she screamed, her voice cracking. Then Marcus stood up. "Just a quick announcement," he said cheerily. "This entire meeting is being live-streamed. We currently have 700 viewers, including Channel 5 News. Maybe you'd like to repeat your accusations for them, Miss Rhodes." Victoria looked at the phone, at the hostile stares of her neighbors. The fear was gone, replaced by contempt, and she utterly crumbled. She grabbed her binder and tried to bolt, but an older gentleman who'd suffered years of her bullying subtly blocked her path. The trap was complete. The fallout was immediate and beautiful. Animal control dropped the case instantly. The quarantine sign came down, and the HOA board was recalled in a week. When we finally stood before the judge, it was a formality. She voided every fine, awarded me damages, and then, looking directly at Victoria, announced, "I am referring this case to the district attorney's office with a strong recommendation for criminal charges. Your actions, Miss Rhodes, are a textbook case of malicious prosecution and neighborhood terrorism." The gavel cracked. Victoria sold her house at a huge loss and vanished to deal with felony charges. Chloe got a new job and became a local hero. The community, finally free, voted to dedicate the small common space at the end of our block to Shadow. Now the official sign reads, Shadow's Park. I sit there sometimes, Shadow's head on my lap, and think about that 24-hour deadline. How far will a man go to defend his own? As far as it takes. Tell me, have you ever seen someone like Victoria abuse petty power in your own life? What was the moment you decided enough was enough? Drop your stories in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you think service animals deserve absolute protection. And share this story so we can shine a light on these suburban tyrants.